The war had ended. The world had moved on. Cities rebuilt. Nations healed. Flags were lowered. Families reunited. But in the dense, damp heart of a remote Philippine jungle, one man was still fighting. He hunted in silence, slept in caves, watched strangers from the shadows. Not for days, not for months, for nearly 30 years. His name was Hiroo Onoda, a soldier of the Japanese Imperial Army. A man who believed the war never ended, who dismissed surrender leaflets as enemy lies, who fought a one-man war while the world carried on. What makes someone remain in battle long after peace has come? This is the haunting story of the last man standing in World War II. Hiroo Onoda was born in 1922 in Japan. He was raised with discipline, tradition, and the unwavering belief that loyalty to the emperor was absolute. At age 18, he joined the Imperial Army and soon trained in guerrilla warfare, espionage, sabotage, and jungle survival. In late 1944, the war was turning against Japan. Desperate to hold ground, the military sent Onoda, now a second lieutenant, to Lubang Island, part of the Philippines. His mission was unconventional: destroy enemy airstrips, disrupt Allied forces. Do not die, do not surrender, wait for orders, no matter how long it takes. These were not just instructions, they were binding. His commanding officer gave him this chilling order: you are absolutely forbidden to take your own life. You will continue to fight until I, or someone from my command, orders you to stop. It wasn't a suggestion, it was doctrine. In February 1945, Allied forces landed. Most Japanese soldiers died or surrendered within weeks. But Onoda, along with 3 others, slipped into the jungle and disappeared from history. On August 15, 1945, the war officially ended. Japan surrendered. Across the world there were tears, reunions, celebrations. But deep in the jungle, Hiroo Onoda and his men believed none of it. They saw surrender leaflets scattered from aircraft, thin, crumpled pieces of paper telling them it was over. But Onoda's training told him this was enemy propaganda. He had been warned this could happen. They'll lie to break your will, his instructors had said. And so he ignored them. They read Japanese newspapers left for them near rice fields and dismissed them as forged. They even heard recordings of their families, calling to them voices filled with pain. But Onoda whispered to his comrades, "Stay alert. This is all part of their trick." From 1945 onward, Onoda's war became one of survival and belief. He didn't just think the war might be ongoing, he was convinced it had never ended. For the next 29 years, Onoda lived like a shadow. He built shelters out of bamboo and mud. He wore a tattered uniform he patched himself. He kept his rifle oiled, his sword sharp, and his ammo dry. He hunted wild boars. He stole rice and bananas from nearby villages under the cover of night. Sometimes he was spotted, and when that happened, people died. Villagers lived in fear of this ghost soldier who emerged from the jungle. Onoda fired on civilians, burned rice stores, raided huts. To him, they were enemy collaborators. Search parties were sent. One of his last companions died in a shootout in 1972, nearly 30 years after the war ended, but Onoda stayed. And every time new leaflets fell from the sky, now faded and torn with time, he said the same thing: they're trying harder. They must be desperate. The jungle aged him, his clothes rotted. His boots were patched with vines. But his will remained untouched. In 1974, a young Japanese adventurer named Norio Suzuki declared, "I'm going to find Lieutenant Onoda, a panda, and the abominable snowman, in that order." And somehow, he did. After trekking through the jungle, Suzuki found a man with a rifle, a knife, and a uniform that belonged in a museum. Onoda greeted him, cautiously. They spoke for days. Suzuki begged him to return home, but Onoda refused. He said, "I will not leave unless I am relieved by my commander." So Japan did the unthinkable. They located Major Taniguchi, now a civilian, working in a bookstore. Taniguchi put on his old uniform and flew to the Philippines. In the jungle, face to face with Onoda, he said, "Lieutenant, the war is over. The mission is complete. You are ordered to stand down." Onoda bowed, and finally, after 29 years, he surrendered. He handed over his sword, rifle, ammunition, and a hand grenade, all fully operational. Onoda returned to Japan in March 1974. He stepped off the plane in full uniform, polished boots, holding his rifle, still deadly. The media swarmed. People cried. Some saw him as a hero, the last samurai, unshaken by time. Others saw a man who had killed civilians and clung to delusion. Onoda didn't apologize. He believed he had done his duty. He was offered a pension. He refused. He moved to Brazil, raised cattle, grew crops. He lived quietly. Then later returned to Japan, where he taught children wilderness survival. He passed away in 2014. He was 91, a man who fought for a country that had long stopped fighting. Hiroo Onoda lived by a promise that cost him 3 decades, dozens of lives, and his connection to the world. Was he a symbol of loyalty or a victim of blind obedience? Perhaps both. In the silence of the jungle, he became legend. And as the world forgot, he remembered. One man, one mission, one belief. That duty never ends. If this story moved you, subscribe to this channel for more dark, forgotten stories from the pages of time. This was the soldier who didn't surrender.